Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to talk about calling out people who use their guns irresponsibly and how it's important. I think it's very important in the gun community that we not only learn from the good examples of how to use your gun, but also from the bad examples of people using them improperly or when they shouldn't. One such example is one that I came across in an article recently. And it was about a guy who pulled his gun on a motorcyclist in a road rage incident. You know, the motorcyclist just went up to talk to him. The guy rolled down his window and had his gun pointed right at the guy's face, finger on the trigger. Really irresponsible behavior, right? I mean, this is a case where, you're in a vehicle, you could easily get away. And the guy is only trying to talk to you. You don't know what he's saying, right? He could be just trying to say, hey, your taillight's out, or hey, something blew out of the bed of your truck. And yet he's met with a gun barrel in his face and a finger on the trigger. Or at least that's the way the media represented it. You know, if you looked at there, even the little banner at the bottom says, like something like motorist pulls gun on motorcyclist or something like that. But that only makes this guy look irresponsible if you don't know all the facts. If you knew all the facts, you would understand that this was not a situation where this guy just got mad and pulled his gun on someone who was trying to talk to him, maybe was mad at him too, or he didn't know what was going on and just pulled his gun because he felt threatened, or he could have just driven away. This was actually at a traffic light. Apparently, this driver had been being harassed by not one, but about a dozen guys on motorcycles. Some people might call that a gang. But he was being harassed by these guys. He got up to a stoplight. There were motorcycles in front of him and on both sides of him and behind him. And one of them decided to go up and knock on the window. And that's when he drew his gun and presented it to the person knocking on the window. That is not an irresponsible use of a firearm. That is how he should have used his firearm. He was in a very bad situation there. There were a dozen motorcyclists behaving erratically, acting threatening to him, which is something that's becoming more and more common these days. Large groups of motorcyclists running around, not even having tags on their bikes. Or if they do have tags, they have them bent all the way up to where you can't read them. Because they know they can do whatever they want, and if the police come, they'll just flee. Because of the bike's speed and maneuverability, they're not going to get caught. And if the police can't call in a tag number, very little chances they'll get them. Unlike a lot of places, not everywhere has a helicopter that's ready to go in hot pursuit of a motorcycle. And especially when there's like a dozen of them and they split up, at least 11 of them are going to get away, even if they do have a helicopter. So they go around doing whatever they want to do. There was even a recent occurrence where one of them stomped in the back window of a woman's car with her kids in the back seat. As she got out to the gang of motorcyclists, and luckily they didn't harm her. They just damaged her vehicle, but they rode around her, threatening her, etc. This is something that happens. And in this case, this was happening to this guy. He couldn't just pull away without running over people. He would have had to run over the motorcyclists in front of him or behind him to get away. He didn't make contact with them. They came, knocked on his window, knowing that they had numbers on their side and that they were being erratic and threatening up until then. So he acted properly. But the media tried to portray it like this is just some guy in a truck who probably did something wrong, and when a motorcyclist called him on it, he tried to shoot him in the face. That's not what happened. When you research it beyond that article and beyond some other news stories, after I saw it in that article, I looked it up. And it's a few years old, but they're using it as a current example. A couple of stories I found, the first ones, didn't really give you a lot of details. But then I dug a little deeper and I found some of the more original, the actual follow-up stories. And police received the video footage of what happened. And no charges were pressed. No one was arrested. The driver didn't even give his name to the media. And they couldn't obtain it because no arrests. And even the guy filming said, oh yeah, I probably wouldn't go up to the window again if this ever happened again because that was stupid. So the guy in the truck did nothing wrong. He was being harassed by a group of individuals on motorcycles, which that is something, like I said, that happens quite often now. He got trapped, and he used his firearm in a way that made the point. Leave me alone. I'm not an easy victim. I'm not someone that you're going to be able to team up on and drag out of my truck without getting somebody hurt. Probably you, because I'm armed. So even though you outnumber me and you have mobility, speed, whatever on your side, and maybe you're younger and stronger than me, I've got an equalizer. So go find someone else to mess with. But you can see how the media can portray this as something irresponsible, and even a lot of gun owners. I noticed in the comment section on that article I was reading, they're like, oh, guys like this give gun owners a bad name. Guys like this shouldn't be allowed to buy guns. Don't be so easily manipulated by the media. Find the facts before you make your decisions. And even people who make bad decisions should be allowed to buy guns until they make that one bad decision that puts them in jail. That's what freedom is. Freedom is dangerous. Live with it. Deal with it. Accept that, because we do want to be free, correct? So don't be so easily manipulated by the media into calling out someone else as a bad gun owner, or saying, oh yeah, certain people shouldn't be allowed to buy guns, because you're playing right into the anti-gunners' hands. Especially in situations like this, when you look into the background and you find out that the person who did what was supposedly such a bad thing was doing the absolute right thing. The guy in this truck avoided injury by saying, I've got a gun. This isn't going to go the way you think it's going to go, or the way you thought it was going to go when you approached my vehicle. After he pulled his gun, most of them fled. That's what you want. He didn't fire a shot, and he also didn't have to run over anyone or crush anyone's motorcycle or anything else. No serious property damage and no death because he pulled his gun. He did what was right, but the media and the people that wrote this article like to portray it differently, and so many gun owners fall for that. So please don't fall for that. When it's a good use of a gun or bad use of a gun, don't be tricked into defending bad guys, and don't be tricked into condemning good guys. Find the facts first and then speak. And in every case, learn from the good and learn from the bad, and also learn to not just trust the media because they have an agenda. I am a grown-ass man.